Litigation Reform Act of 1995, which involve risks and uncertainties. These statements can be identified by the use of forward-looking terminology such as expects, believes, estimates, projects, intends, plans, seeks, may, will, should, or anticipates, or the negative or other variations of these or similar words, or by discussions of future events, strategies, or risks and uncertainties, including future plans, strategies, performance, developments, acquisitions, capital expenditures, and operating results. Such forward-looking statements reflect the company's current expectations and beliefs but are not guarantees of future performance. As such, actual results may vary materially from expectations. The risks and uncertainties associated with the forward-looking statements are described in today's news announcement and in the company's filings with the Securities and Exchange Commission, including the company's reports on Form 10-K and Form 10-Q. PENN National Gaming assumes no obligation to publicly update or otherwise revise any forward-looking statements. Today's call and webcast will include non-GAAP financial measures within the meaning of SEC Regulation G. When required, a reconciliation of all non-GAAP financial measures to the most directly comparable financial measures calculated and presented in accordance with GAAP can be found in today's press release, as well as on the company's website. Thank you for your patience with that, and it's now my pleasure to turn the call over to the company's CEO, Jay Snowden. Jay, please go ahead.
Thanks, Joe. Good morning, everyone, and thanks for joining us for our third quarter earnings call. Here to present with me this morning is our Chief Financial Officer, Dave Williams, as well as other members of our senior executive team who are here to help answer your questions. I'm truly pleased to report that we were able to generate strong third quarter revenues, as well as record adjusted EBITDAR and adjusted EBITDAR margins, even with the ongoing social distancing and capacity constraints at our reopened casino properties, which at this point includes all but Zia Park in New Mexico. Our success this quarter is a clear reflection of the hard work, scrappiness, and determination of our property, interactive, and corporate management teams and all our team members who continue to work tirelessly to provide a healthy and safe environment for our valued guests and their fellow team members. I continue to be amazed and incredibly proud of the way our company has responded to the daily challenges this ongoing pandemic presents. One of the biggest highlights of the quarter, of course, was the launch of our much-anticipated Barstool Sportsbook app in Pennsylvania. While still early, the app has been very well received. I'll say more about our partners at Barstool Sports following Dave's financial update, but first I want to touch upon our company's response to the devastating impact of Hurricane Laura on Lake Charles, which was soon followed, unfortunately, by Hurricane Delta. Needless to say, all of our team members at L'Auberge Lake Charles have been personally impacted by these storms, some having lost everything. This continues to be a challenging year in so many ways, but we will rally around our Penn family and the community members in Lake Charles because that's what we do. I am grateful and proud of the way our sister properties came together to support our fellow team members in their time of need. Volunteers from Boomtown Biloxi, Boomtown New Orleans, Hollywood Gulf Coast, and L'Auberge Baton Rouge have been helping with the cleanup and recovery efforts and have provided temporary housing for displaced team members. I'm also thankful for our partners at Barstool Sports who quickly stepped up and created special Lake Charles Strong merchandise that can be purchased on their website. All of the net proceeds from the sales were generously donated to our Hurricane Laura Relief Fund under the PENN National Gaming Foundation. Barstool Sports CEO Erica Nardini also hosted the mayor of Lake Charles on her podcast, Token CEO, to help bring more awareness to the needs of the local community in the aftermath of Hurricane Laura. To date, we have contributed more than $2.5 million to assist L'Auberge Lake Charles and the community, which includes covering full wages and benefits for our Lake Charles team members during the property closure. While the national media's attention has almost entirely moved on to other stories, we plan to be there to continue to support Lake Charles in its ongoing recovery efforts. With that, I'll turn it over to Dave.
Thanks, Jay, and good morning, everyone. As you'll see in our earnings release in the accompanying deck we provided, PENN National had its best quarter in our company's history in terms of adjusted EBITDAR. That result is even more remarkable when you consider the continued capacity constraints, temporary closure of L'Auberge Lake Charles following the hurricanes, the late quarter reopening of Tropicana Las Vegas, and the continued temporary closure of Zia Park in New Mexico. Our Ohio and Indiana properties were the standouts for the Northeast segment this quarter. In the South, all of our properties, excluding Lake Charles, delivered double-digit adjusted EBITDAR growth. Meanwhile, our Midwest segment was able to achieve year-over-year adjusted EBITDAR growth despite significant capacity constraints. This outstanding property performance, combined with our successful capital raise of nearly $1 billion in September, allowed us to repay our revolver balance of $670 million and increase our cash balance to $1.9 billion. In addition, we reduced our traditional net debt to approximately $693 million at September 30, bringing our lease-adjusted net leverage to approximately 4.9 times based on 2019 adjusted EBITDAR. We are confident that our improved balance sheet provides ample liquidity to support high-return projects in our land-based business, such as the new and rebranded retail Barstool Sportsbooks and the further rollout of our interactive products. Finally, in terms of our capital expenditures this year, we're continuing to be very disciplined despite all but one of our properties being reopened. We spent $21.5 million on maintenance CapEx in Q3 and approximately $2 million on project CapEx related to our Cat 4 casinos in Morgantown and York. We're resuming construction on these projects and anticipate both opening in the second half of 2021. Back to you, Jay.
Thanks, Dave. As I referenced, on September 18th, we officially launched the Barstool Sportsbook app in Pennsylvania, and it was the #1 most downloaded sports betting and sports app in the country during its first weekend, despite only having launched in one state. This app launch was a significant milestone for our company, and I would like to personally thank our Penn Interactive team and our partners at Barstool Sports for their hard work and collaboration over the last several months. With all the excitement surrounding the app launch, we were able to acquire a significant number of new customers during the first 2 weeks of launch. As a result, our September results reflect higher promotional allowances as first-time depositors took advantage of our initial $500 risk-free bet and other promotions, all of which were in line with other operators during their first month of launch. As you will see on slide 11 of the deck we provided in the earnings release, promo credits in September represented 7% of handle, as we acquired new customers through promotions for first-time depositors. As promo credits and hold rates have normalized in October, we have continued to see strong handle while reducing our promo spend to 3% of handle, leading to meaningful net gaming revenue. We expect this trend to continue as we launch in additional states, given the ability of Barstool to quickly and efficiently convert their audience to our sports betting app and our collective ability to retain those customers. I would like to emphasize that the impressive results the app has achieved to date have been without any meaningful external marketing spend, which reinforces our belief that we should be able to, in the medium and long term, achieve a top 3 market share position in both the sports betting and iCasino space across the country in states where we operate, and with best-in-class profitability. One of the ways in which we can deliver on this goal is through an innovative and unorthodox approach to marketing, advertising, and customer acquisition costs. For example, Dave Portnoy from Barstool Sports reached out to me last week with the creative idea to team up to help save the historic Reading Terminal Market in downtown Philadelphia, which was hard hit by COVID and has been struggling to keep the lights on. They had a GoFundMe campaign underway to help sustain their operations, but hadn't quite met their goal. Dave and Penn stepped up together and agreed to contribute $100 for every $100 plus new account opened on our Barstool Sportsbook app in a 24-hour period. We ended up raising over $150,000 for the Reading Terminal Market to help them complete their goal. In addition, and this is largely due to Dave and his profile online, another nonprofit organization that supports small businesses in Pennsylvania was so inspired by our efforts, they reached out to Dave and they offered to put up another $100,000 of matching of Penn's contributions toward the cause. This was a great win-win in terms of attracting new customers and simultaneously providing support for our local community. While there's been plenty of focus on the performance of the Barstool Sportsbook app, we're also very pleased with our investment in Barstool Sports, the media company. Despite the temporary loss of live sports and a general slowdown in advertising spend, Barstool is having its strongest year yet and has seen profitable revenue growth through a diversified mix of advertising, brand licensing, and merchandise business. Most importantly, Barstool continues to grow its audience across its podcast network and the largest social media platforms. Over the last year, we have seen some very favorable comps in the podcast sector, and we feel good about Barstool's competitive positioning in that space as well. With Barstool actively promoting our retail and online sports betting offerings to their large, loyal audience, we believe